All right, so you're a pro in your favorite programming language, right? And you're looking at AWS Lambda thinking, I want some of that serverless power. But there's always that one big question, that gap. How do you get the code on your computer to actually talk to the cloud? Well, in this explainer, we're going to build that bridge. We'll show you exactly how AWS lets you speak your language. I mean, this is the classic problem, isn't it? You spend all this time building something awesome on your own machine, and it works perfectly. But then trying to get it to play nice with a service like AWS, Lambda, it feels like a totally different universe. You start wondering, okay, how am I supposed to handle authentication? What about making the right API calls and dealing with all the errors? How do you make the cloud get what you're trying to do? So here's the answer. It's your bridge to AWS, and it's called the AWS Software Development Kit, or as you'll always hear it, the SDK. Honestly, the best way to picture it is like a universal translator. It's this magic piece of tech that sits right between the code you're writing and the massive AWS ecosystem, making sure that conversation between them is smooth and seamless. Okay, so what is an SDK? Really, let's break it down. At its core, it's just a set of tools that AWS gives you specifically to make your life as a developer easier. That's the whole point. The goal is to let you build these amazing, powerful applications using the programming language you're already comfortable with, so you don't have to waste time reinventing the wheel every single time you want to connect to an AWS service. And listen, an SDK isn't just some vague idea. It's a real, practical toolkit. When you get one, you're basically getting three key things. First up, you get the API. That's the library that lets your code actually talk to AWS. Then, you get a bunch of code examples, which are awesome for getting started super fast. And finally, you get the documentation. Think of it as your roadmap for figuring out all the cool stuff you can do. And this, right here, brings us to what I think is one of the coolest things about the AWS world: choice. You're not locked into just one or two options. So let's take a look at the incredible toolbox of languages that AWS gives you to work with. So how many languages are we talking about here? Get this, 14. That's right, AWS provides official SDKs for 14 different languages and platforms. And that number isn't just for show. It really tells you everything you need to know about their philosophy. They want to meet you, the developer, right where you are, using the language you already know and love. All right, let's do a quick tour of this toolbox. You've got the big ones, of course. We're talking Python with its super famous Boto 3 SDK. If you're doing any kind of automation, you know Boto 3. Then there's JavaScript. This one is huge for building those seamless, full-stack, serverless apps. Connecting your front-end code directly to your Lambda functions in the back. If you're all about performance, don't worry, they've got you covered. There's an SDK for Go, which is absolutely perfect for building those super fast microservices. And even Rust, which is just fantastic for those situations where every single millisecond and every layer of security and safety really, really counts. And it's not just about the backend either. With an SDK for Swift, mobile developers can hook up their iOS apps to AWS services with no problem at all. And of course, the massive .NET community hasn't been forgotten. There's full-blown support for languages like C# and F#. And believe it or not, the list just keeps going. We're talking about enterprise workhorses like Java and C++, popular web languages like PHP and Ruby, and even tools for the command line like the AWS CLI and PowerShell. The takeaway here is simple. Whatever you specialize in, chances are there's an SDK ready and waiting for you. Okay, so that's a huge list of languages. But why does this actually matter to you? I mean, it's more than just a bunch of cool logos on a slide, right? Oh yeah. It has a direct, real-world impact on how you work every single day. This slide really says it all. Think about the without an SDK world. You're stuck deep in the weeds, right? You have to build all that complicated plumbing from scratch, stuff like authentication, error handling, figuring out how to retry field requests. But with an SDK, all of that is just handled. It's done for you with pre-built components that have been tested a million times over. And that frees you up to focus on what you actually want to be doing, building the unique, cool logic for your own application. And this quote right here, this nails it. This is the whole mission. The entire point of these SDKs is to remove all that friction and just empower you, the developer. It's all about making the cloud way more accessible by letting you work in a language and an environment that you already know, that you already trust. Okay, so hopefully you're feeling ready to start building something. The big question is, what's the very next step?
Let's talk about how you can go from watching this right now to actually writing your first line of code.
Here's a super simple plan to get you going. First thing, go find the official code examples for Lambda that use the SDK for your language. Seriously, they are an amazing resource. Second, jump into the documentation for your specific language. And third, and this is a really cool pro tip, if you're looking for an example of how to do something and you can't find it, use the feedback link right on the docs page to ask for one. They actually listen. So there you go, the bridge between your code and the cloud. It's right there, waiting for you, which means there's really only one question left, and it's the most exciting one of all. With all this power, all this flexibility right at your fingertips, what are you going to build?